Calling all units, calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.
And yeah, I think looks like I'm live. I'm gonna go over and show the comments section. So when everybody comes on, yeah, so getting ready, or well, currently started over on YouTube. Go to my story. You'll see the link for the YouTube live over on Donut Shop Podcast. And this is an Instagram announcement to go over to YouTube. Going to talk about, I have queued up, Lupe brought it up to me. I thought it was kind of interesting. The president of El Salvador has changed, well, through the government, through legislation, they have changed term limits. They also bumped his term from 5 years up to 6 years. In El Salvador, you had you had only a one term available for the president. When they win an election, you can't seek re-election. So now he can also seek re-election. So it kind of, it says that he can seek re-election indefinitely. So giving you guys a little teaser, just gonna talk about that. I don't know how much everybody wants to hear about it, but I figured that was something interesting to bring up that I felt like bringing up. So I'm going to shut this one down and head over to YouTube. So you guys, well, I'm already on YouTube. Hello. But you guys head over to YouTube, please check it out. And we'll see you next Sunday on the next live from Facebook or from Instagram. I don't know what I'm doing. All right. So I'm back. And Lupe brought this up to me last night. And she was just like, the president of El Salvador has had his term limits changed. And I thought it was interesting, not to become entirely too, well, you can't use New York Times because you got to add paywall here. Let's try AP. So it says, so the headline says El Salvador opens path for its president to stay in power indefinitely, and why critics aren't surprised. It seems, I know, or this is what I think. I'm not an expert in any of the topic for how El Salvador runs their country, but I would believe that a lot of it is based around United States support and what America gives as far as support to El Salvador, to try and spread democracy and bring that kind of stuff into their country. And then we had a long period of time where stuff like MS-13 was really overrunning the country of El Salvador and causing major problems. And so this president came in, Bukele, I believe is his last name, or how you pronounce it. I might be butchering it, but it shouldn't be that hard. But when you've got unlimited power, or you have power that just can't be taken away from you, either through the voting of the people or elections, it becomes authoritarianism. And the checks and balances that are in place, that I'm sure El Salvador has a similar model, after the United States experiment, that has worked fairly well for 200 years. And I'm sure somebody could debate me on that one, because there's plenty of angry people today. But for the most part, it's worked out pretty well for everybody in the United States. When you lean more towards authoritarianism, then it becomes a problem, and people are going to say that with America and with Trump and stuff, that we're experiencing authoritarianism as well. But you look, and there's still checks, there's still things that come up against him, that pauses things that he's trying to do, that causes it to have to be argued in court. So there's still checks and balances there, and a lot of us just tend to look through a certain looking glass or perspective, and we don't realize that the last administration, or the administration 2 times before that, dealt with the same sort of things. It's just Trump gets a different looking glass when people look at him because he's so out there. So it's a little crazy that El Salvador is going to change that over. I mean, I think on one side of it, it's positive because they have done good things for the country and for safety over there. I went over there as a tourist 2 years ago, and I thought it was nice. Yeah, it's not America. It's not first world. Walk around the streets everywhere, but it's a foreign country. It's a different way of life and a different lifestyle, and I thought it was interesting, and I thought it was fun to go visit and to see where my wife's family was from. So it was pretty cool. But so yeah, so since no one has any objections to that or bringing up any conversation other than just me talking to myself about it, that's I thought it was interesting, and it might fly by. I don't know if somebody's going to see it on the morning news. So I thought it was interesting to bring up on this. This is not a news show, but may as well turn it into it. So what's up, everybody? Good morning. Drinking from a OG Donut Shop podcast mug. You guys have coffee? Anybody have coffee? Making some coffee. So yeah, this is me. Coffee and donuts in the morning. Yeah, they love their Bitcoin. What's up, Joe? Yes, you can pay. To note, when I was in El Salvador, you could pay with credit card, pay with US dollars, because they pretty much only took US dollars, or you could pay with Bitcoin. So you could do Bitcoin transfers to pay for your hotel, all that kind of stuff. So they're all about their Bitcoin. I think their president also invested a lot of their national fund into another cryptocurrency, which didn't necessarily do well for them, but it's doing well enough that he could, get his presidency extended and stuff. So, other thing I wanted to bring up that I thought was amazing is that the United States, or the White House, brought in and even made a video of Triple H from WWE fame walking out of the White House and doing his classic Triple H intro spit take. Amazing. And I find it, I don't know, I find it refreshing that we don't take ourselves too seriously and we're going to allow Triple H to walk out of the White House and do that. I try not to take things too seriously in life, and I find it amazing that we did that. From what I understand, they brought Triple H in as part of a, kind of like a board or a panel to talk about, national fitness testing in schools, stuff that I had to do when I was a kid. I don't really remember what the purpose was or what it was for, but I remember them doing, certain fitness testing on us when we were kids. Don't know if they still do that, but the promotion of fitness through schools, I think, is important, and we might as well do that. And heck, if we can get enough eyes on it because we're using somebody like Triple H to, spread the message or create these viral videos that everybody shares, and that's some of the thing that people forget on social media, is that sometimes you have to do something a little crazy on a social media video to get people to get eyes on it, and then you're not gonna get every eye that goes on it and sees that video is not going to look it up and find out exactly what's going on. But if you can get it out, the message out in front of enough people, a portion of that are going to start researching it and looking into it when they didn't know anything about it before. So, that's kind of the idea behind some of the viral nature of creating ridiculous videos and silly videos. And sometimes that correlates to what police departments do and government agencies do. So, yep, that's that. What else you guys got for me? Kind of like rambling off through stuff. Oh, I will talk about this. I already set this up earlier. I'm going to bring up the media assets and bring that up. Slide myself over to the side, which is not there. I am. All right. Saturday, August 16th from 6 p.m. to midnight, Unseen Creatures Brewing and Blending in Miami. Counterculture is going to have a live event where podcasters from Counterculture are going to be there. Some other influencers. We got Copville, we got Tyler from Antihero, we got me, you got Heather from Unfiltered and Unfazed, you got the guys from Tone Alert, so we're all coming out there. You got Other Than Honorable Podcast is going to be out there. I believe Jimmy Watson, because he should be back from Thailand eventually. I don't know if he just moved there forever. So Jimmy Watson will be there. And then, but yeah, big thanks to Feds Apparel. And then I can't completely read the, I wasn't involved in the secondary. I was involved in Feds Apparel's recruitment as a sponsor, but I don't even know where my dang thing is. It's a Dade County armor company, or it's an armor company. Let's check let me go on my downloads. I'm horrible at this. Sorry. There you go. Armored Breach. Armored Breach is the other sponsor of the show. So we're gonna be down there Saturday, August 16th. I know Jerry Worms, our buddy Jerry Worms, and his wife Liz Worms are going to be there. So come on over and check that out if you're down in the South Florida area. It's going to be a blast. These live events are starting to come up more often. I think we were talking about there's one that a organization reached out to Counterculture and said, hey, can you bring the crew and do an event in Philly? So in October, we're going to be probably in Philly, doing Philadelphia area, doing a live stream. So don't forget those, or keep your eye out for that. I'm working on trying to get these announcements rolling out better through Counterculture, so that everybody kind of has a better knowledge and can keep track of this stuff. And then if Counterculture is going to be in your area, or if you got a suggestion for where we should do a live, jump on in and tell us what's up. A good way to do that is on Friday nights at 9:00 Eastern. We do our open mic. It's kind of like a Zoom call with a bunch of idiots. And so we had a blast this Friday. It was an awesome one. Check it out over on Counterculture's YouTube channel. The live stream was freaking hilarious. So we had fun. So check those out. Those are always a good time. And then, we got it going pretty good. So I'll pull this off. So yeah, last thing today. Let's do that. There we go. Move me around. So this Tuesday coming up is going to be a drop for Donut Shop Podcast episode 63 with Michael Morgan. He's a 30-year retired law enforcement officer. He did 10 years in Atlanta and 20 years in Suffolk County, New York. Out on Long Island. Pretty cool dude. I'm just wrapping up. I'm finishing up the edit on the podcast because we did this one in person. So we sat at Dunkin' Donuts and recorded it. So, he's a cool guy. Told some stories about, his law enforcement career, and then went into, a big portion of the episode is based around ayahuasca and his ayahuasca journeys that he goes on, kind of explains, what goes on during an ayahuasca ceremony, and then, how it made him feel and things that he was able to go through or like deal with in his life, because of the ayahuasca journeys that he goes on. So, pretty cool and interesting for, first responders, veterans, people with PTSD, and maybe even other, kind of mental issues that they might deal with, stress, might be an interesting option for some people. For me, it's a little freaky because you do a lot of purging, vomiting, and I haven't done that since I was in 5th grade. So that would be a bit of a weird thing if I did ayahuasca. One of the interesting things that I learned was that it's a Scheduled 1 drug, even though it's from a root and tree bark, and they boil it down several times, filter it, boil it down, and that's what you drink. But it is considered a Schedule 1 drug. So probably because the government doesn't necessarily want us to have access to medicines that will heal us. They want us hooked onto medicines that they can continue to, not the government, but, pharmaceutical companies want us taking medications that we have to take for the rest of our lives, and not just something that might cure us or heal us on the first go around. God forbid that ever happen, right? All right. Well, that's kind of what I got going on today. If anybody wants to throw anything in the mix or shoot a question or something that's grinding your gears or got you worried, yeah, that's that. Anybody want to chime in? Drop a comment over on the comments section or down below, and might be something I can work out with you. Yesterday we were shopping for boots because we got a country concert coming up, and Lupe wants to get countryfied and wear boots. So we went to the boot shop. But yeah, otherwise, keep your eye out. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell for the episodes, because I got an episode dropping. It'll be 7:00 Eastern this Tuesday. Reels and stuff to follow. And check out Mike. All right, everybody. I'll drop off and we'll talk to you later. Got to get ready for the gym.
Calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.